Have you seen something like this in stores lovely and you really want to make one for yourself? These right here are everything you need to achieve that look. And in this video, I'm going to be explaining all the tools and you'll walk along with me. Hey lovelies, this is Annie with Annie Marie. If you're new here, you're welcome. Do well to subscribe to our channel, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. Now here are everything we need to create this particular project. Now this is a multi-sized pack of hand sewing needles, okay? So all you have to do is to choose the particular size that will work for your project. A matching color of polyester sewing thread, big cone 40 weight. We have the gold colored crystal beads, which are going to be applied with the studs, and the gold colored pearls, which are going to be hand sewn. Now the crystal beads has this beautiful sunflower shape that has the center black in color, which is well coordinated with the color of the fabric. These are the studs that will connect the crystal beads to the fabric. They are very tiny, so while using them, we need to be mindful of their size and keep them safe. These are the pearl and the stud dies, which will be inserted into the rivet machine. Fabric marker for proper placement of the embellishment. Fabric glue, which will be used to secure the placement of the hand sewn pearls. All right, so we'll need to make sure that we place it where we marked, and then we'll use our thread and the hand needle to stitch it on to actually make it permanent. All these tools right here are everything we need to create that beautiful crystal beads and pearls embellished t-shirt. Let's get to work now. Now place the fabric on a stable flat surface, okay? And now we're going to be using the crystal beads and the pearls to create our pattern on the fabric. I love doing it this way because it creates the visuals that I need, all right, to help me with the creation of my design. Okay, this is not like, okay, it's more like pattern drafting. All right, yes, you know the way you use your paper to cut out the pattern for your bodies, for a dress. This is me creating the pattern directly on the fabric. Okay, I just need the visuals. I need to know how it would look. Now I want this to have this alternating kind of pattern. It's going to be one crystal bead and one pearl. All right, one crystal bead and one pearl. And as I'm going, I'll be seeing it take shape, and if I feel it's not what I want, I'm going to rearrange the pattern. Okay, so it's going to be more like trial and error, and now it's going to be curved around the neckline. Okay, you can see the way it's curved just close to the neckline, and then I'll start building it downwards. Now I don't want this pattern or this design to go below the armpit. Okay, it's not going to go below the armhole. It's going to be just on the line of the armhole, and what it means is it's going to be just close to the nipple point, all right, on the chest. It's not going to go below the breast line. It's just going to be maybe on the nipple line, above the breast, on the chest. All right, so I'm trying to create the pattern now, and from what I am doing, it's kind of building up, but I think it actually looks somehow more like scanty, and I want it to be close together. So I think I'm going to start shifting everything closer. Okay, and what it means is I'm going to create more lines. All right, the space is too much. I don't want the pattern to be scanty. Okay, so I'm moving this right now. I have to move them, maintaining my alternating pattern, which is one crystal bead, one pearl. All right, so I'm going to move it now and create more lines. So it's going to be like 5 lines or 6 lines. This is still not looking great in my eye. I'm still going to create more lines. I don't like this. All right, so I'm going to move it more, and I think at the end of the day this may be like 8 lines. I think 8 lines is going to do the work because I need it to be full but not too full, and at the same time I don't want it to be scanty. Okay, it needs to be eye-catching, it needs to be appealing. All right, and I'm going to make sure that I don't go beyond the point that I want this pattern to be. So I think it's actually coming out well, but I'm creating 2 more lines. Okay, like I said, mere looking at it, I know that 8 lines is going to do the trick. Okay, the pattern is looking okay, but I'll create 2 more lines. It's going to be like 8 lines downwards. All right, here is our pattern looking beautiful, and now we're going to use our fabric glue to secure the pearls. All right, so I'm going to open it now, and I'm going to be using something to scoop it because my fabric glue tip got broken. Don't ask me how it got broken, but I'm really sad about it. But thank goodness I have an alternative method of using it. Okay, so I'm going to be applying it on all the points that the gold pearls are placed. Okay, this is to secure it so that by the time we start stitching it on the fabric, it's going to stay, it's not going to move, and then the pattern is not going to be distorted. Okay, good thing about this glue is that it dries down colorless. I'm an avid user of this particular fabric glue and I love its consistency. Okay, and I don't know the type of fabric glue that you use, but you may want to use a protective layer under your fabric. Let me say, if you're actually working on a t-shirt, you may want to put a protective layer right under here, okay, so that the glue will not gum the front and the back together. But like I said earlier, I've used this for a long time now and it has never given me that kind of problem. Now let's finish the glue application off camera. All right, now I'll use the fabric marker to mark the spots where the crystal beads are. All right, this will enable me to know the spots where I'm going to be hooking them with the studs. All right, and I think this is a big mistake because I forgot this is liquid. The dry down you may not be able to see because this is black fabric, so let me use fabric chalk. All right, this you will be able to see while I work on it. Okay, so now I'm going to start marking the spots with the tailor's chalk, and you can see it as I'm doing it. This will enable me to maintain my pattern and nothing is going to be distorted. All right, here we go, marking all the spots. The next step is to start removing the crystal beads and keep them safe for later use. Okay, so I'm storing them in this white plastic bowl and I'm going to keep them aside, and the next thing to do is to use our thread and our hand needle to sew on the pearls. Okay, if you are wondering why we use the fabric glue to hold on to the pearls, here is your reason. Okay, you can see that I'm holding up the fabric and the pearls are not falling off. Imagine if I didn't use this fabric glue to hold onto these pearls, knowing fully well that I'm going to sew them on, it will make the task more difficult. Okay, so now I'm going to push in my needle with just 2 threads. Okay, just 1 thread you will pass through. The 2 lines are okay, and I'll make sure that the needle comes close to the opening on that pearl, and I will push the needle right into that opening. Okay, holding on to the pearl, push the needle right through that opening and it will come out to the other side. Okay, and once it comes out to the other side, I will push down the needle close to that opening, okay, to go back into the fabric. You can see what I'm doing. Okay, the needle is now through the opening and I'll push it down exactly very close to that opening, because you don't want the thread to be visible. Okay, you want it to be almost invisible, right? And that is why you use the same color of thread as your fabric. Now once it's at the back, you can now thread it like this, or you can cut it off, tie it off, or you can do this strange pattern. Now you can also do this because you can actually use another fabric to cover it up if the thread bothers you. We're done tacking on the pearls, we're done sewing them on, and you can see the marks for our crystals right there. Now grab the crystal beads and start placing them on those places we marked with the tailor's chalk. All right, now we have our pearl dies right there, And this particular pearl die comes with this plastic cover that you can insert right here, and you will put your pearls. You know, pearls are fragile and all that, so this plastic protects them when we press on the dies, all right, when we use the rivet machine. But because the crystal has these rough edges and it doesn't really fit properly, we are going to be using this pearl die without the plastic, okay, because it's going to be really strong. So I'm going to use it bare, just like this, okay. Anytime you have this kind of crystal, just use it like that. So now we're going to fix it in using the spiral point, okay, because up here we have this kind of rounds inside that shows you that you can screw it on without any extra tool, okay. So we're going to start turning it, screwing it in, and it will just fit properly, okay. Now make sure that you're using the right die, the right size for the crystal or the pearl you're using. Now this is the one for the studs, okay. The studs are pushed into here, okay. It's inserted into that opening, and these studs are very tiny, like I said earlier, so you need to be mindful, you need to be really careful. When it falls down, honestly, you just need to, you know, have the wonderful eyesight to be able to locate it. So it has these teeth, okay. It's like 4 tiny teeth, and that's the upper part. That's the part that will attach the crystal to your fabric, okay. Once we press on it, when it's inside the die, it's going to spread out and hold onto the fabric and connect the crystal to the fabric, okay. So the part that has the 4 teeth is going to be facing you, all right, while the closed part, the under, will go right into the die, okay. It has this tiny opening on the top of the die, so we're going to place it right here, and we're going to use the knot or the hook on the side to hold it still. This will prevent it from moving while we work with it, okay. So once we just put it in, we're good to go. Now here is the crystal. You just go in between here on top of the fabric, and then we'll close it down, and that is it, all right. Now let's just remove it and do the practicals, okay. Remember, we have our spots where we're going to place the crystal, all right. So now I did one, I didn't know my camera turned off, so sorry. So we're going to go through this process again, but you can see the way it's looking, okay. Please, so sorry, you know, these things happen. Now I'm going to bring out another stud, and I'm just going to drop it into the die, and once it's right there, I'm going to take that point, okay, that place that the Telos chalk marked, and put it right there. This is the top, this is the top of the crystal, okay. So now I'm going to place this spot on that lower die where I placed my stud, okay. Now the up will be pointing directly on that spot, okay, and I'll now put the crystal right on top of that spot. Now I will gently press on the handle, the lever, to push it down. Please, 1 second is enough. Don't apply too much pressure. If you do, 2 things can happen. It's going to break the crystal, and it's going to tear the other side of your fabric. Yes, this part will be torn. Trust me, it has happened to me before, so I learned the hard way, okay. So take it from me, all right. So this is what you're going to get. Now let's do another one so that you won't forget this process. Bring out your stud, be very careful with it. Make sure you place it with the side that has the teeth facing you, and then you take the marked spot, place it directly on that place, and then you take your crystal, okay. The flat part will be on your fabric, while the part that has the design will be up, okay, facing you, and then you gently press down on the lever. This is enough. The pressure is enough. Don't press too hard. Remember what I told you, you can break your crystals and you can tear your fabric. You don't want to create holes, okay, and you start looking for things you will use to patch it up. So I'm going to do the rest of the things off camera, and we'll see our end result. And there we have our beautifully embellished t-shirt. Now, a word of caution, please hand wash this, okay. Using washing machine, set it on delicate and low spin, and turn the fabric inside out, all right. I hope you enjoyed this embellishment tutorial. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, share your thoughts at the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next one. Until later, lovelies.